it's now happened like 3 times. You, Jason, and Hat Hole. Videos I had seen because YouTube fed them to me and I enjoyed all of them. And then it turned out like it never occurred to me like, oh, maybe they watched my video. And then you come to find out we're all watching each other's shit. And it's been really fun because through this entire 2-year journey of critiquing one man that, you know, I still admire.
I do too.
Yeah. I have found like all these kind of small, talented YouTube channels that I otherwise wouldn't have found.
Yeah, it is this weird, like mom and pop shop kind of organization we got, or like a cottage industry, you know, of people who shit on other things.
Yeah.
You know, like
yeah, and then even, you know, Cinemassacre Truth. There's obviously a lot of characters on there that are unseemly, but I mean, some of the comedy on there is so top notch and so sophisticated.
Well, if you look at our analytics, it's like on the podcast channel anyway, it skews more in the dad age range in the 34 to 44. And because you think of a subreddit like that, you think of like it must be all 18-year-olds or 15-year-olds or 12-year-olds or something. But I think I think there's some of that. But I think largely it's older people who grew up. It's probably people who are exactly like us, who grew up with him and are now fascinated by what's going on. They mostly lurk because there are like tens of thousands of people there. And it's always the same 15 people commenting. So they're mostly lurking. I like to think that the videos like Dancing with Ghosts and ours can kind of like model the sunnier side of this sort of thing, you know, that we can kind of, I don't know, dissuade people from thinking that it's all a total, is like nonstop immaturity.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's not lowest common denominator.
Yes,
it's actually high effort.
Like one fat joke for every 30 minutes, you know, like you throttle it.
I like how people think that, you know, I sit down and film a video and edit it and source these clips from the YouTube page or whatever to show examples of what I'm talking about. And I do all that and I put it out there because I just hate James Rolfe so much. It's like, no, I do it because I care about his art. I care. I give a fuck. That's
it's a topic you care about. So you made a video that you care about. Right?
It's like, if I was just making like a shit post in the form of a video, I don't know. I'd just go on there and be like, huh, James Rolfe sucks. I don't know. Like, it's like
this shirt's small.
Like people review shit because they care. You know, I mean, that's that. Unless you're like a music reviewer and your job is to just review albums or whatever, like, you know, Needle Drop or whatever. Look at me just dropping YouTube channel names out here.
Somebody recently gave me shit for talking about Trey Parker too often, but so I'm going to go ahead and do that again. I remember when Team America came out, and they were catching some flack for some of the content. I remember he was like, for some reason, there's a lot of people who think that if you make fun of something, you don't care about it. That, you know, the irreverence automatically means that like you don't care about the thing at all. And he's like, in our case, like anything we make fun of, we typically actually really care about. We're thinking about it. That's why we're making fun of it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and you can, I feel like you can make fun of something and like criticize it and not be like toxic, I guess, about it.
Yeah.
And I try to do that whenever I do, like, I really try to like dance around not being like just mean or whatever. If I'm doing a video where I'm critiquing something that James Rolfe is doing, and even Rex Viper, like, I'm passionate about music. I'm passionate about the grind to actually get success as a musician, and to see like, when I saw like a YouTube celebrity just kind of buy or assemble this band and just go out without putting in the work and put on a live performance and just have it totally suck. Like, yeah, I got really offended, you know, by that. So that was kind of the spirit of me making the video. It wasn't like, I hate James Rolfe, let me take a shit on this because he wants to do it, and I'm just going to make fun of anything he does. It was
for all of his modesty or his reputation for being modest, there is a certain overconfidence, a kind of oblivious overconfidence that comes with some of his behavior. And yeah, I think being like, you know what, I think I'm ready for the live show, you know, is maybe one of the, and also I think the music music culture in the music world is different than like the YouTube
Right.
world, you know? Like you sort of have to be a bit more ready, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, geez, like, I mean, certainly we've played with a lot of bands that just aren't very inspired. They're just kind of, they're doing their version of their favorite band. Like this, oh, here's a band that's doing a very poor man's version of Killswitch Engage or Metallica or whatever. And, you know, you have that, but, you know, most bands that are, you know, getting the bigger opportunities, you can tell they put in the 10,000 hours. They've cultivated a stage presence. They, you know, have their shit together as far as like timing and, you know, not having your guitar be out of tune or talking to the sound guy in the middle of the show because you did a sound check beforehand. You know, all these things are things you learn when you put the time into it. When you don't put the time into it, you have Rex Viper Live.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it was just a very amateur performance in like so many ways. It's like, man, you guys, like, you know, pilots, they have like certain amount of thousands of hours in the air or whatever, and like they have to, you know, on their resume or whatever, it's like, oh, I have this many hours of flight time or whatever. If as stage time, it looked like that band maybe has been practiced like 10 or 12 times, and then they're like, all right, let's go on stage and, you know, rock and roll.
It's funny. I you know, occasionally I'll mention on here that like I started going to church last year, and people are like, "What? Tell us more about that." And I maybe someday, but something that I've noticed is, so this particular place I go to is, the music is amazing, and like their sound is amazing. Like they don't blow you out, but it's like it's just the right level for the room, and but then I also noticed like their mediation was really good too. Like everything technical that was going on was really good. And I was like, why is it that like a little, you know, like a group of volunteers can do such a good job? And I realized I was like, oh, it's because they do it every Sunday. Like every Sunday there's a big show and they have to put on you know, and like, I'm sure, and this is their 12th year. And I'm sure that they, you know, sucked for maybe a year or something.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there was technical issues every week.
Yeah, right. And now they stream to YouTube, and so there's also a broadcast element to it. And they, you know, they just kept leveling up, and it was like, it made me wonder. I was like, I wonder how much, you know, for certain kinds of churches, how much they can drive, like technical innovation, or if they're capable of that, just because they do it so often, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like for me, I've played probably thousands of shows at this point. And yeah, when I first started out, I was very much like most of the guys. I stared at my shoes and played bass because I started out playing bass in bands or whatever. And, you know, then as the years go on, hey, why don't I start doing this? Or, you know, just doing like moving around, making eye contact with the audience, you know, headbanging, whatever, you know, duck walking, you have your pick.
Finding your stage personality because you don't know what it is at first, right?
Yeah, I mean, even talking to an audience between songs is something you have to learn to do, which is case in point. The lead singer, I don't know the dude's name, the British guy, very bad at that. You could tell he wasn't used to doing it. You know, I mean, I don't know. It was just one thing after another with that band. Like every aspect of it was just like, oof.
So aren't they going to be playing live again pretty soon?
Oh, they are. I'm counting the days. I need my electric bill paid.
Yeah. Is Justin still a background singer?
They got rid of him for the last one. They got the hint.
Can you imagine James firing him? Like, hey, yeah.
Just isn't there like a YouTube video of like Rex Viper was just Justin?
Oh, is there? That's funny. I feel like he kind of squeezed his way in, you know, which would be tough for him.
Oh, it's just so awkward because he's just like he's a backup singer, so he's like in the background with just a microphone, and he's Justin, so he sticks out.
Yeah, when I was talking about that video, he does stick out, and he's on stage giving a performance. So if he was just a dude in the audience, obviously I would not say anything about that. But you're on stage doing a performance, and you are quite large, and you're wearing a very small jacket. It's like a fucking bear on a unicycle. I got to comment on that, you know, like, and people like, oh, fat shaming and this, that, and the other. It's like,
it's strange. Even if he was normal shaped, like somebody who's just a background singer, who's not like, you know, maybe like you have a chorus sometimes, maybe, or like a trio of people in the background or something. But if it's just like one guy in the back with a microphone, it's weird.
I don't know. Because they're mostly playing covers. I'm not as attuned to what's wrong with them. Because I'm like, oh, I recognize the song, and so if it if it approximates the song, I'm more or less like, okay, that's what the song is. But the singer, man, like that's what makes me want to turn the thing off.
I don't know any. Like I'm pretty tone deaf. I don't know a tune from a note from a note, but when I hear his singing, it goes. I know it goes flat.
With that guy, I think it's like two things for me. Either A, he does no warm up before he goes on stage at all. He just goes cold turkey. Vocal cords hit these really high notes by these very talented 80s bands that actually had good singers, like Survivor. That motherfucker can sing.
Right.
And he's trying to like fill those shoes. And either he's not warming up his voice up, or B, he can't hit those notes to begin with, even on a good day, and they're just fixing it in the studio in post with the auto tune or whatever. They're he's singing the note flat with auto tune. It's not all just like the T-Pain effect. With auto tune, what 90% of what it's used for is a note will be flat, and then you just take the note and put it up to where it's supposed to be, and boom, it sounds completely natural and organic. So I think I know for a fact they tuned him a lot on the recordings, but then live it's just like, yeah, dude's either not warmed up or he's singing in a register that he shouldn't be singing in. It needs to be dropped down a few keys.
I'm thinking of the Tiger Electronics one where he actually does, like, it's in the recording, and he has this big crack right in the middle of it. And
that's the one I'm thinking of, where it sounds off. It sounds awful.
I thought, like, well, this Kyle Justin guy is obviously his musician, right? Like,
yeah,
good, bad, or indifferent.
I mean, he's I don't know. He just played the theme to the AVGN song, and that's not a technical like feat.
Demonstration.
It's just a bunch of power chords. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I would love to know what happened in the background with like Kyle, Mike, Boots. Well, I know what happened. Essentially, Bootsy and Mike. Bootsy got fucked out of the DVD money or something like that.
Yeah, and didn't get paid for some of the videos that he made for the channel or something. Yeah, so it was, and also it sounds like he and Mike were childhood friends, and they just had like a big falling out too. But now it seems like Mike is kind of like a shadow member of Cinemassacre again.
Yeah, y'all pointed that out, and I saw it in the Truth Forum as well, Cinemassacre Truth Forum, and I found that interesting because it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess he's kind of back in the mix. I thought he was hilarious when he like dressed up as Bugs Bunny or the Joker or whatever. Like, he
is in many ways the spirit of the show. There's a lot of discussion about, is he the show? But I'm like, he's definitely he's an essential piece of what was successful about that. And I think where he really deserves credit for, I've said it before, I'll say it again, is keeping the channel evolving with things like James and Mike Mondays. Even just being the guy who was like, that video game review you did of Simon's Quest was genuinely funny. You should do another one. Yeah. Or, hey, it was fun to review a board game. We should review another board game. He was helping edit Monster Madness in the beginning days and stuff. Like, the guy, and honestly, like on his streams and even on that Talk About Games podcast, he's he's a content generator. He again, like, whether or not you vibe with, whether or not he's your cup of tea or a shot of whiskey, he has opinions about things, and he can express them relatively eloquently. I was thinking the other day, I was like, look, here's what I would do if I was James, right? It ain't that the big question. What would you do if you were James? So a lot of time we've said in the past, we're like, only make a couple, make 1 or 2 AVGNs a year if you hate it that much. Well, we know that he can do it with just Kieran and Mike, right? That's at this point what Screenwave was giving him, in addition to things like merch. So why not just hire a Kieran type freelance, right? Just hire a freelance editor, and that guy will be your editor, and you and him can shoot the videos. They're not that hard to shoot. and maybe release like 6 a year, once every other month. And
Frankie,
then
what are you talking about? They're not that hard to shoot. If he wants to get another angle, he has to totally reroute his entire room.
That's true. That's
just
true.
to get a different angle.
He's got to cut the zip ties off the ceiling. It's tough.
Don't you think he wants more angles? Of course he does, but he doesn't have the time to reset everything.
Unfortunately, I have to redo all the drop ceiling. Yeah. And then maybe every other month he should make something that's totally fun, totally, it could be it's bullshit. It could be whatever, just, something that keeps you creatively fulfilled. So 1 video a month, there you go. And then you have 12 videos. It'll be every month a little event from Cinemassacre. You can hire your own editor. You can keep more of that money. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I marvel at JonTron. I mean, that guy, God, he'll go 3, 4, 5 months.
Yeah.
And then he puts a video out on like what, Flex Tape or Flex Seal, and it's like what, got 100 million views now?
Yeah. I think you can tell with him, he only makes stuff that he's passionate about and or has an idea about.
I get the impression from him, I could be wrong about this, but I get the impression that he makes more videos than he releases.
Interesting.
They'll get together and they'll try to shoot something. They'll have a bunch of ideas and they'll shoot some of them and they'll just trash stuff that doesn't work.
Interesting. Yeah.
I kind of get that impression.
Yeah, because I mean, the videos that do get released are, I mean, he's again one of these guys that can just get away with doing something so random, and it's just going to have all this interest. Like, and it's almost like we had three videos that we shot, but this one on weird dating games is the one that came out the best or whatever, so we're gonna go with this one.
Or I was reacting to drug PSAs, and it ended up being kind of funny. Let's make a video out of it. Yeah, I think that's how it goes.
I think one of the problems just in general is that a lot of people are just looking for sincerity right now, and whatever the nerd is not sincere.
Yeah,
that's totally. For sure.
And so and somebody on the Discord was like, he should just, I think it was on the Discord, was like, he should just make just evolve it into like Nerd Dad. He's Nerd Dad now, and he just talks about whatever, and he doesn't have to be in character. He can just be James. It's like the whatever the video he did recently, which was obviously shadow written by Mike, about like five hidden gems or whatever on the NES. Even that it's that I think doing that format is probably better. I also think audiences on YouTube are looking for the next parasocial relationship. I think there's a lot of lonely people, and I think they're looking for, kind of like, because when you subscribe to a content creator, it's a bit different than following an actor or a celebrity or watching movies. It's somebody you're probably watching on a weekly basis, or you're watching a huge backlog. You're binging their content. You're really getting to know them. And I think like for a lot of people, it's stand-ins for friendships, or it's like somebody to keep you company in a way. And like, so James and Mike Mondays, I think, filled that void for a lot of people too. And like AVGN is more like a premium content that doesn't need to come out as frequently, but he needs to do something that augments the space in between.
Also, with content creators, if you make a video about them, you might even be able to talk to them personally.
Yeah, and he won't engage. So
I was making a joke about doing a video about y'all, and now
yes. Yeah. Well, look, if you just throw a flattering look my way, and I'll be like, "Want to hang out?"
Well, I mean, if I want to be Tom Cruise's friend, if I made a movie about Tom Cruise, I wonder. But I don't know. He's kind of
try it. You try it. Or who would be a good celebrity to like make a video about in hopes that they might see it? Let's think. Who's that obsessed with themselves? They might check out like a small video about themselves.
I think Pauly Shore would probably check out a movie made about him.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's out of desperation, really.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.